Hello again, it's Lew. Why is Yahuah going to burn the earth? We're going to discover the real reason in this video. He is going to burn the earth in order to do away with the inhabitants that rebelled against him and won't obey him. He still wants you to obey him. I think it's Yeshayahu, Isaiah chapter 24, and it couples up with Matthew chapter 24 very closely. The reason that he's going to burn the earth is the inhabitants of the earth have defiled his eternal covenant. Right behind me on a stone that's probably the oldest real Hebrew that exists on the planet. It's older than the silver scrolls that have the priestly blessing, and they were considered to be the oldest real Hebrew. Well, the priestly blessing was inscribed on these in real Hebrew. And this stone is at least 400 to 500 years older than that. It was found by an archaeologist in the 1800s in Los Lunas, or Hidden Mountain, New Mexico. And it's, of course, been mutilated several times and horribly treated because it was out there unprotected. And just recently it incurred the damage of some kind of dark tar or paint or something that somebody smeared over the entire surface of the entire stone. This is the Ten Commandments. This is the eternal covenant. And the people who wrote this, or they actually engraved it in a stone, a white stone. As you can see, the letters were engraved and they're white because the stone is white. And this stone has endured so many things. It was covered by some kind of moss or lichen for centuries and centuries, and it was completely ignored. But it was actually done by a colony of Israelites that were brought over here roughly 3,000 years ago during the reign of Shlomo, or Solomon. He sent out ships and he established colonies here in the North American area and many other places like the islands of the seas. And artifacts are found here and there all around the North American and South American continents. Some in Peru, some in Brazil, some of them were here in Tennessee. And the Native Americans, who the colonists discovered living here already, were those Israelites, those tribes that were sent out by Shlomo. The Cherokee is one of the tribes that I myself derive from, and my wife as well. We live in an area called Kentucky, which is a Native American word that means dark and bloody ground. It's where the tribes would have wars with each other, and arrowheads are all over the place. You can hardly go anywhere without discovering an arrowhead in an untilled patch of ground. And it's amazing, really. So what we're going to look at today is some text that I've prepared to show you a couple of things, like where did we get the word cross? Where did that come from? Is it legitimate? And the word, I'm going to show you a word, Christianity. It's just the way it is. I mean, the Christianity is not found in the scriptures. It's actually just something that was just handed down as an accepted practice. And it was basically the traditions of men, the pastors who control people's minds. So we'll switch over to that real quick and let you see what that looks like. All right. Now this is the title of this video, Why Yahuah Will Burn the Earth. Quote, "For the Eretz," that's the earth, "has been defiled under its inhabitants, because they have transgressed the Torah," the instructions, "changed the law, broken the everlasting covenant. Therefore, a curse shall consume the Eretz, and those who dwell in it will be punished. Therefore the inhabitants of the Eretz shall be burned, and few men shall be left. Unquote. That's Yashayahu, they call Isaiah 24, verses 5 through 7. The everlasting covenant of kindness is the 10 words found in Exodus 20 and Deuteronomy 5. Yahusha also quoted several of these to a rich young ruler who asked him how he might attain or acquire eternal life. And these instructions train us how to love Yahuah in the first 4. Probably not. Thank you. And how to love our neighbor in the last 6. They will never pass away. Now this is a big division point where people get confused. The old covenant, spoken of at Deuteronomy 31:26, was not the writings from Genesis through Malachi. That's not what the Old Testament is. The Old Testament is an incorrect word. The Old Covenant, spoken of at Deuteronomy 31:26, was written on a scroll, which is a sefer, and it was placed beside the ark, and it prescribed animal blood for temporary atonement, not redemption. It is declared to be obsolete. That's the Old Covenant. That involved animal blood and the priesthood that administered it at Hebrews 8:13. Along with that old priesthood that administered the Old Covenant, the denominations of Christianity have abandoned the concept of obedience and profaned the everlasting covenant. That was what's right behind me in the written on that stone. Did you know Yahusha instructed his first Natsarim to teach all nations the name of deliverance? That's Yahusha, that's who Yahuah is, the Father, the Son, and the Ruach HaKodesh. His name is Yahusha. To be immersed in water, calling on his name for forgiveness, and pledging obedience to all that we were instructed to guard, his commandments. Blessed are those guarding his commandments, that they may have the right to the tree of life, and to enter the gates of the city. That's Revelation 22:14. Now, the most ancient symbol of sun worship found everywhere on the earth, the most ancient symbol is the cross. How did it get involved or wrapped up in Christianity? Well, obfuscation is a way of redirecting how to think about anything. Seducing spirits use it to delude us. The word crux is Latin, and it came into the Latin Vulgate in the late 4th century translation by ignoring the proper Latin word for the Greek word staros, which is staro in Latin. And it's a single upright post with no intersecting bar. Now let's stop right here and look at this for a moment. Now Jerome, they call him Jerome. His real name is Eusebius Hieronymus Sophronius. He was translating the Greek into the Latin language, and he chose, instead of using the Latin equivalent of staros, he chose crux, because during his lifetime and before that, during Constantine in the early 4th century, around 325 and even earlier, Constantine had basically adopted the symbol of the crux as in this sign conquer, and that was, his pagan approach to reality. And he merged Yahusha with the sun. He worshipped the sun as Apollo. And it's just a symbol that was a rallying point for all of his army. And so these pagans were worshiping the sun, and this is what was adopted. And so we figured that Jerome, as they call him, Hieronymus, Sophronius, translating this Latin Vulgate, into from Greek into Latin, he adopted this word crux because that was such a highly significant image in the minds of these pagans. And they were merging religions and revising history. So when the Latin Vulgate came into English and was released into the first edition of the King James Version, this Latin Vulgate reflects everything it contained in the Latin Vulgate into English. So this Anglican Catholic circus used the Latin Vulgate's crux to bring this word cross into the English. And it spread around the world from there. During the printing press had been invented by Gutenberg around 1450, and the Latin Vulgate happened to be the first large job that Gutenberg had to print. And so it became readily available because it was printed that way. And the cross became the official symbol of Christianity during the reign of Constantine I. Any image that people bow toward is an idol. And necklaces that they wear, or talismans, if they're worn for any reason, they're the same, and they imitate pagan behavior. People are taught witchcraft, and they don't perceive it. Observing others is where we all go off the narrow path. We have to look only to Yahuah, and he will direct our steps. Highly intelligent people have the most difficulty understanding the simplest things about the reign of Yahuah, because they have much more leaven or toxic teachings of men to purge. Learning how to love others and how to love Yahuah is very easy, because Yahuah lives in his obedient ones to guide us to choose love. And this is how to overcome the world. Our belief and trust in him. There's nothing I or anyone can do to help anyone. But Yahuah is capable of anything. When we stop resisting truth, the wrestling comes to an abrupt end. Our struggle is with our own flesh after we submit to do his will. The Babel effect is the background for every Christian activity, from trinities like Nimrod, Semiramis, and Tammuz, to Sunday morning steeple pillar meetings where they have supper in the morning. Disobedience is not bridal behavior. Be the bride. Obey the commandments. Thanks for watching. And remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you in the very next exciting video. Bye.